So here's a good question this morning. How's that cup of coffee you're drinking right now? For you true coffee connoisseurs, chances are it tastes pretty good. But pretty good doesn't hold a candle to a world-class coffee bean, perfected by nearly 100 years of coffee making tradition that's roasted, brewed, and then matched with its own ideal coffee pairing. But doesn't that sound good? Well, here to tell us more about the perfect coffee experience is Matt Siraj, a fourth-generation coffee maker for one of America's most prestigious coffee-making families. Matt, I am so glad you're here this morning.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
I can't wait to delve into all of this. But first, I want to talk about your company. Your grandfather founded this company, what, almost 100 years ago?
Almost 100 years ago. My great-grandfather, Cap Siraj, founded Community Coffee back in 1919 when he discovered the secret of making great-tasting coffee in his Louisiana general store. And he named it Community Coffee in honor of his friends and neighbors that supported him early on.
Well, it's really interesting that he had the foresight almost 100 years ago, because today America is basically one big, huge coffee community. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's part of the feel-good experience of coffee. You know, caffeine stimulates the brain and it has antioxidants and has some health benefits. You know, there's a lot of studies that link coffee to lower chance of serious illness. And there's these things that make coffee really a very popular drink in America. In fact, every day, over 400 million cups of coffee are served in the United States, making the United States the #1 coffee-consuming country in the world.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a great stat. But I'm assuming and I'm guessing that some of us aren't really brewing coffee correctly. Am I right?
Well, that is true. And maybe I can help with some simple coffee education while I'm here. And let me ask you just a few questions about coffee. Question number one.
Okay.
What is the correct way that you store coffee at home?
Put it in the freezer.
Okay, most people say that, but in fact, storing coffee in a freezer is not the best thing to do. Coffee absorbs odors and things around it, so you don't want to store it near the onions in the refrigerator either.
Right.
But put an airtight container in the cabinet is the best way to store your coffee.
Okay, got to change the way I store my coffee.
All right, so question number two.
Yes.
Is it preferred to have whole bean coffees that are ground fresh for brewing or ground coffee?
So buy the beans and then grind them at home.
Grinding beans certainly is part of the experience of coffee. But ground coffee in the grocery store is just as fresh as whole bean coffee in the grocery store. Purchase just enough that you'll brew and consume it in 1 week.
Tell me though, how do you make, if you could tell me, the perfect cup of coffee, what would you say?
Well, the first thing is to start with a really great coffee and a great coffee bean. We use only select Arabica beans from around the world. We source from about 30 countries around the world to find the top 10%. You cannot make a great cup of coffee with a mediocre coffee bean. You have to start with the great bean.
Now these plates are specifically paired with different roast, right? Tell me about that.
That's right. You know, coffee, just like wine, you want to pair it with food carefully, and there's a simple rule of thumb: the richer the food, the darker the roast.
Okay.
So when we look at breakfast breads like these, so we have some lemon poppy seeds, some blueberry scones, very light. It's the morning. You want a light roasted coffee is preferred.
Light roasted, okay.
But when we get into creamy desserts, let's say a key lime pie or a cheesecake,
yeah.
you know, you can stand a stronger coffee, a medium dark roasted coffee. We'll give it that semi-sweet hint to complement the dessert, but it's not going to overpower it. It's not going to be too strong. But of course, when you get to chocolate, when you get to really decadent desserts that we all love, they can really stand up to any coffee. But a dark roasted espresso or a signature dark roast coffee will really play off the chocolate very well, complement it, and not surrender to it, but make that a great dining experience. Okay, so you ready to get started?
I am. I want to try that orange muffin. I've been looking at that.
All right, well, let's do that. We're going to pair that with this medium roast breakfast blend.
Okay.
And this coffee is going to be lighter, tangy, so I have a real smooth finish.
I can see that it's lighter.
It'll really complement the orange flavor of that.
Let's see if I can do this. Okay, I'm going to take a little bite of this.
You want a touch of cream in your coffee?
Let me try it black.
Okay.
I want to taste the pureness of it. It's a little tangy.
It's tangy, and you can taste the fruit, because you have fruits, any kind of tart or fruit or anything like that, a lemon,
fantastic.
A light roasted coffee, just kind of a light sweetness and a tanginess.
Love this. All right, now you know I've been dying to see this key lime pie. So I'm going to go a little darker here, right?
That's great. So this is medium dark roast cafe special. Now this is going to be a fuller cup of coffee. It's going to be richer.
Okay.
It's been roasted longer and roasted differently, but the profile will be semi-sweet, and it has enough body in it that it can stand up to you know, a creamy tart, something that's just a little bit heavier. Even a dessert with cinnamon in it would complement well with this coffee.
Okay, here I go. Wow, I can totally taste the difference.
You can taste the difference in the mouthfeel. It's a heavier coffee.
And you know, after we wrap, I'm going right over to the chocolate.
Absolutely, that's the most fun.
I want to tell you, it was so great. I learned so much today. I felt like I was in Napa Valley, and it's so important, you know, to think about coffee like we think about wine and pairings. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me here. I enjoyed it.
And we'd like to say a special congratulations to you and to Community Coffee for your Military Match Coffee Initiative. Listen to this, folks. Over the past 5 years, more than 20,000 pounds or 10 tons of premium coffee have been shipped to our military servicemen and women overseas. That is so fantastic, Matt.
It's our pleasure.
And now to get your hands on some of this amazing coffee, just head straight to thebalancingact.com to find out how. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Cheers, Matt. Great having you in.
Cheers.